Here are the best waiver wire pickups going into week 4. At 1, it's Trey Benson if he's somehow available in your league. Now you can see he's not available in my league. Someone has him 54.8% roster in ESPN fantasy leagues. This is a guy that, with James Conner's season-ending injury, is going to get all the usage in the world. And someone you could also get as his handcuff, Mercado, as well in super deep leagues. Second is Luther Burden, 9.3% roster in ESPN fantasy leagues. I actually dropped him in one league a few weeks ago because I needed a running back desperately, and now I'll be picking him back up. It's going to be fine. I got the waiver claim for that already in, and in another league I already have him. I drafted him in 2 out of, what am I in, 6 leagues? 6 or 7 leagues, so I have him in a lot, but 19.8 fantasy points, only 3 targets, so you want to see his usage go up a little bit more. But we know this guy was a star in college. He was a yards after catch monster. He's going to be a guy that's going to be utilized more in this Ben Johnson offense moving forward. 3's got to be Trey Tucker. I mean, 2 13.4 plus fantasy point games, including the 40 fantasy point game almost he had last week. I mean, 41. Yeah, 41 fantasy points. Ridiculous. Come on. He has to be picked up. Only 2% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. 4, I think, is Tyquan Thornton, 2.2% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. This is now back-to-back 12-plus fantasy point games and a guy that Mahomes relies upon. Now, of course, Rashee Rice is coming back in a few weeks. So, take it with a grain of salt, but he is being utilized in this offense a fair amount. He had 9 targets this weekend. Another guy to pick up is Blake Corum, 11.7% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. Man, this guy, 8 for 53 against a really good Philadelphia Eagles defensive line. Kyron Williams doesn't look as efficient, but he's still a good pass catcher. He's still going to get some usage, but Corum is a great guy to roster in all leagues. Ollie Gordon, 23.2% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. I know he's been on this list before, but coming off of it, he got a goal line carry, a touchdown, 9.8 fantasy points, and Devon Achane, remember, he's a tiny dude, so he could get injured really easily the way that they utilize him, throwing it to him like 14 times a game, running him through the tackles. Because of CeeDee Lamb's injury that's going to put him out 4 weeks, Kevontae Turpin's a solid pickup. 2.4 roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues, 8.8 fantasy points last week. Now George Pickens and then Turpin, and of course Tolbert will be utilized in this offense. And a guy that's been on this list before, Brennan Strange, 21.3% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues. Look at the targets. He had 7 targets. He had 12.1 fantasy points. Trevor Lawrence likes this guy. It's like a security blanket for him. The only reason why he's this low on the list is because he should be rostered pretty much everywhere, but Hunter Henry's coming off of 29 fantasy points, 48.9% roster in ESPN Fantasy League. And finally, a guy that's also been on this list before, 8.9% roster in ESPN Fantasy Leagues, Woody Marks. Now, we don't know when Joe Mixon's going to come back. I know only 4.6 fantasy points, but the snap percentage is getting increasingly higher for Marks. You guys agree? Let me know what you guys in the comments. Make sure to follow for more waiver wire and fantasy football advice like this.